Let's have a go at Vinyl Tag 2021. Ahoy hoy everybody, and welcome to this video where I'm taking part in the 2021 Vinyl Tag. Vinyl Tag is an annual event on the vinyl community where it's basically 20 questions that you answer to sort of show off your taste in music and your collection. I haven't done one before. I decided that this year I was going to do it. I've sort of integrated enough into the vinyl community and my collection's grown to a stage where I should be able to do it quite easily. Then this year's one came out and I dithered because there's a couple that I haven't been able to answer. One I've sort of got round, one of them I just can't answer, but I thought, no, sod it, let's do it anyway. I've watched a few people's videos. I'm way behind on my YouTube watching. I'm running just over a week behind at the moment, so I'm gradually catching up with people's entries. But here's mine. So first question is a 2020 discovery, so an act you discovered in 2020. I'm going for Lloyd Cole and the Commotions. I actually bought this in October 2019, but I didn't listen to it till January 2020. This is 1984 to 1989, which is a best of that they released in 89, I think. Yes, in 89 after they split and Lloyd went solo. Basically, I'd seen Ross Goodall talking about Lloyd Cole and the Commotions on a few videos. He'd done a couple of reviews of Commotions albums and solo albums and talked about seeing Lloyd Cole in concert. And I'd always liked Perfect Skin and Lost Weekend. And I thought, so I saw this for a £5 in a slice of vinyl, my local record shop, and thought, I'll pick it up, see if I like the rest of their stuff. So I listened to it start of 2020, really liked it, and I have now got, yes, all three. I was just trying to remember. Yes, I now have all three of the Lloyd Cole and Commotions albums. I've only listened to one so far, the other two are in my to listen to pile because they're fairly recent purchases. But yeah, so Lloyd Cole and Commotions was a 2020 discovery. Question 2 is a quarantine buy. Now, as most of you know, I've bought lots of albums in quarantine, so I decided to pump for an album that I almost certainly wouldn't have bought if it hadn't been for the fact that it was in quarantine, and that is Something to Tell You by Haim. So, a slice of vinyl. I wanted to support him by buying some records through his web store. This is during the first lockdown, and there's 2 or 3 that I wanted anyway, but then each month he has a record of a month, which is normally only a tenner, and this was it for that month, whenever it was, can't remember, April, May, something like that. So I thought, oh, sod it, and added it to the basket, and really enjoyed it. I've also got their latest album, Women in Music Part 2, I think it's called. The part number's what I'm hesitating over, which I really enjoyed as well. I will pick up their, I can't remember if this is their second or first album, but I'll pick up the other album anyway, eventually. Women in Music I've only got on CD, but it's signed. But yeah, good album, really enjoyed it. Number 3 is an LP you want to find, or an album on vinyl you want to find in 2021. It's got to be On the Night by Dire Straits, which is their live album from the On Every Street tour. Basically because it's the only Dire Straits album I haven't got on vinyl. It crops up on eBay fairly regularly, but it's quite expensive. It's normally £70 to £100, and that's more than I want to spend on a record that I'm not looking at to check the quality of. If Kieran got a copy in at Slice of Vinyl, or if Steve and Simon got a copy in at Heathen Chemistry and it was that price and I could see it and I could see it was a decent copy, I'd pay it. But I'm not buying one on eBay at that price. So yeah, that's the one I need to complete my collection. So On the Night by Dire Straits, I do have it on CD. Question 4 was show a box set. So I thought I would show my League of Gentlemen's Special Stuff box set, or vinyl cuts. This is a great box set. I did a full unboxing of this, but I will quickly go through it. The first thing in it isn't actually part of a box set, I just keep it in there. That was a record store day release of the Live Again show, but I will quickly show the pop-up. because it's fun. Okay, so we have some art prints in there, which are basically of the album covers, but really great pictures. Then we have a 7-inch single of Voodoo Lady by Creme Brulee, the fictional band from the show. And it's etched on the back, which shows up very nicely actually. We have a signed photo of the League. I also got a signed poster with it because I ordered it through their web store. Then we have the radio series, and they're all coloured vinyl. So the radio series is on Pauline Pink. They're all 3 discs in each album as well. And we have series 1 of a TV series, all gatefolds as well, and it's all just really well done. And this is on green, translucent green. Series 2, I'm going to come out. Series 2, and this is on nosebleed vinyl. Sorry for a banging. Don't want this to drag on too long because it's 20 questions. And series 3. And it's on an orange vinyl. They then did a box set that had the Christmas special and the anniversary specials on, which I also have. Okay. Next is question 5 is a concept album. So my favourite album by my favourite band, Promenade by the Divine Comedy. So this tells the story of a boy and a girl. I've always interpreted it as childhood sweethearts. Some people say it's brother and sister, but there's elements which make that a bit dubious. But it's basically them reuniting, going on a date. You know, they have some food, they go to a bookshop, they have a drink, they go for a swim, etc., etc. And it's basically just the story of their day, and it's a masterpiece. Question 6, an album where the artist changed direction. So I'm going for Wilder Shores, which is the most recent album by Belinda Carlisle. This was a Record Store Day release on blue vinyl. And this album is, apart from the final track, which is a re-recording of Heaven is a Place on Earth, these are yogic mantras set to music. It's not as bad as it sounds. It's you know, it's obviously you can't really sing along to it, but musically it's good and it's well worth a listen. So that's Belinda Carlisle's Wilder Shores. Okay, question 7. Show a white label promo. I don't own any white label promos. I have a 7-inch single with a promo sticker on the front, but it's just a normal 7-inch single. But what I thought I'd show instead was a test pressing. This is Snow Patrol's album Wildness, and when I bought it, unlike nowadays where the test pressing options tend to be very expensive, I can't remember exactly how much it was, but it was a very reasonable price for the test pressing, so I bit on that as well. So it is purely nothing written on the test pressing. And it just came in a plain white sleeve. I've sort of tucked it in with the album, but the sleeve is signed by the band. That's the nearest I've got to a white label promo is a white label test pressing. Question 8 is show a compilation album. Lots of people have been showing greatest hits albums, which I don't really consider compilations albums. I mean, I suppose they are, but when I think of a compilation album, I think of various artist compilations. So I've gone for Live Stiffs. So this is a live compilation of acts who are on the Stiff label. And this has got Enjoying the Blockheads, Nick Lowe's Last Chicken in the Shop, Elvis Costello and the Attractions, Reckless Eric and the New Rickless Eric and the New Rockets, and Larry Wallace's For Psychedelic Rowdies, and lots of the acts sort of appear with other artists as well. Christian Nyman, album that tells a story. Now that's not a album as a concept album that tells a story, but an album that has a story with you, or prompts a story with you. So I didn't really have one, but I've gone for Gomez's Bring It On. And this is the story this sort of prompted. 2018, for the first time ever, I went to Victoria's Festival in Southsea. Now it's only, Southsea's, as the crow flies, about 4 or 5 miles away. There's a bit of water in between, but you know, even a drive round, it's only a 20-minute drive. And it's Victoria's Festival is a big festival. It's you know, started off quite small, but it's really grown. And over the year, it's always held on August bank holidays, and over the years, the few times I've sort of been interested in going, I've been working, so I haven't been able to go. But in 2018, I was off, and certainly 2 days of it I was off anyway, Saturday, Sunday, and there was lots of acts I wanted to see at it. So I don't go to the festival just to watch a band, but if there's, you know, a few bands on that I want to see, or a band that I really, really want to see, I will go. 2018, great lineup for me. Saturday went over, beautiful weather, saw Happy Mondays, Sleeper, who else was on the Sunday? Brian Wilson performing Pet Sounds in full. I saw a little bit of Paul Weller, but Duke Special was headlining the acoustic stage. I went to see him. Billy Bragg, all sorts of people. Really good day. As I say, weather was lovely. Woke up Sunday morning, torrential rain. So the festival is on Southsea Common, which is pretty much on the seafront at Southsea. So the rain was coming in over the seafront. And there was only 2 acts I really wanted to see. Gomez and the Blue Tones. Gomez were the second band on the main stage, and Blue Tones were about 4th or 5th. So I headed over first thing, because obviously Gomez were early, trudged in, and it was just a quagmire. It was horrible, I say, torrential rain. And so I just got myself a coffee and some donuts, some nice warm donuts, just to warm me up a bit. Any excuse. Headed to the front of the stage and basically just stood there ready for Gomez. And because the wind was coming in, the stage was getting soaking wet. Long story, not quite as long. After about half an hour after they were meant to be on, and you know, the band were there and they were discussing things with the crews and what have you, they finally managed to set them up in a gazebo right at the back of the stage where it was still dry and they weren't getting windswept. And they played them, they were magnificent. But at one stage, Tom from a band, he wasn't needed on that song, so he came down. It's still pouring rain, but he came down, came off the stage and came along and just shook everybody's hand who was at the front of the audience, which of course included me, which I thought was just such a nice gesture. So yes, stayed for the Blue Tones, went home straight afterwards and just drowned. Anyway, yeah, so Gomez, Bring It On. Question number 10 is an album that needs a vinyl pressing. Struggled with this because most of the acts, you know, my big acts, have now had vinyl pressing. There's some Prince albums, his later stuff that hasn't been pressed on vinyl, and it needs a vinyl pressing, but I'm showing you Prince later anyway, and going by the campaign that's going on, they will be issued anyway. One that I'm not sure will be, it's Uta Lemper's album Punishing Kiss. I love this album. This has got songs written by Nick Cave, Neil Hannon of Divine Comedy with Joby Talbot, Elvis Costello, Philip Glass, Scott Walker, Tom Waits. You know, really good songwriters. Neil Hannon of Divine Comedy play on a lot of the tracks. There's a couple of duets with Neil on here. It's just really, really strong album. Really, really, really love, and would love to have it on vinyl. Number 11, a common and an uncommon album. I don't have that any really uncommon albums, but in line with a few people, I've decided to pick 2 albums from the same artist. One that you'll see everywhere, and one that's not so common. I haven't to pick it up. So the common one is Schmilson by Henry Nielsen. Henry Nielsen? So the common one is Schmilson by Harry Nielsen, which I've seen about 6-7 copies of in the last 2 years. Great album. The uncommon one, basically I just went through on Discogs, and yeah, that goes for about 4 or 5 quid. This goes for 25 quid, so it must be rarer. This is Pandemonium Shadow Show. I don't remember what it's called, man. Yeah, which was his first or second album? Second, I think. Another great album. Is possibly my favourite of his albums. Certainly way up there. Yes. That's my common and uncommon. Question number 12. Show an EP. Well, since I listened to it this morning, so he's putting it away just yet. This is Deacon Blues 4 Bacharach and David songs. So this was a substantial hit. I'll Never Fall in Love Again was sort of the single that was played from it, and was certainly top 10, probably top 5. At a stretch, it might even have got to number 1. It's certainly got really high in the charts. Side 1's completed with The Look of Love, which they wrote for Casino Royale. And then side 2 is Are You There With Another Girl? A Message to Michael, neither of which I knew, but both of which I enjoyed. Very good EP. Number 13 is an album by a girl group. Now, I only had 2 albums by girl groups, and they're both Prince related. So I've picked Apollonia 6, the other one was Vanity 6. This is on vinyl. I've got loads on, I've got all the Spice Girls and all Girls Aloud on the Saturdays, and plenty on CD, but on vinyl. The only girl groups I had were Apollonia 6 and Vanity 6. So Vanity 6 were first. Vanity split from Prince. So Apollonia was drafted in and played the female lead in Purple Rain. And this is the album. It includes Sex Shooter, which was the single that they played in Purple Rain, etc. Manic Monday was recorded by him for this album, but was then dropped, and he gave it to the Bangles. Basically I picked this one because it's got a lyric sheet with a lovely picture of the girls on it, and the inner sleeves are very nice as well. That's sort of completes the 3 girls. It's a good album. It's not great, but there's some good stuff on it. Question 14, an album cover you love. This was a no-brainer for me. I adore this cover. This is Janelle Monáe's Dirty Computer, and it's got a wonderful... it must be the light, was meaning that's not showing up as well as normal. I'm just going to turn my ring light off. See if that... No, what? That's better. Okay, switch the light back on. Nice lenticular. It looks better in person. I'm sure it showed up better the first time I showed this when I bought it. So I think it might be the lighting's not helping, or the angle. But yeah, love that cover. And very pretty vinyl as well, which I will quickly show. Nice sunburst yellow. Question 15 is the album you've listened to most. Purely between either Brothers in Arms by Dire Straits or Purple Rain. Purple Rain was the first Prince album I owned. I owned it on cassette. It converted me. I rapidly became a fan. About halfway through Let's Go Crazy, I became a fan. So, listened to the cassette hundreds of times, CD hundreds of times, vinyl not so many, to be honest. But it's got the poster in it as well. I only opened this, I bought this sealed when I was at university, And I didn't open it until about 2 years ago, so it's probably been sealed. Well, I'd owned it sealed for about 20 years. And obviously it had been sealed since 1984. But yes, Purple Rain, probably my most listened to album. Question 16, an album I had to get an OG copy of. I'm not worried about that. If I want to own an album, it's purely for the music and I don't really care what pressing it is. So I haven't got an example for that. Number 17, the last album purchased. Well, this was delivered about 3 hours ago. This has come from America. Bit of story with this one. Strange release. It is... perfectly packaged, thankfully. Prince The Hits 1 album. So Prince's first compilations were finally released in 1993. Warner's had been trying to get him to do them for years. And it was released as 2 albums, a Hits 1 and a Hits 2. And then there was a box set, it was a Hits 1, Hits 2 and the B-sides. Out of the blue, late last year, November time-ish I think, October, November, it was announced that Chibo, the German coffee manufacturers, had an exclusive pressing of a Hits 1 they were releasing. Why just for Hits 1? Why Chibo? God knows. But unfortunately they were only selling to certain countries and the UK wasn't one of the countries. Thank you, Brexit. So it was really hard to get hold of a copy. But then all of a sudden Paisley Park announced that they had copies that they were labelling as exclusive. Chibo had been labelling theirs as exclusive. So I ordered a copy from there and as I say, it turned up this morning. So it's on purple vinyl. This is just saying exclusive edition 180 gram purple vinyl. The Chibo one says Chibo on that label. It is stickered on the back, made in Germany. So it is almost certainly the same pressing. But let's have a look. Well, these were released. This album, remember, Hits 2 were released on vinyl. I'm not sure about the B-sides, if I'm honest. Certainly CD and cassette for them. But I don't own it on vinyl, that's what I'm saying. I have it on cassette, I have it on CD. Polyline sleeves, and it's the usual translucent, slightly marbled purple vinyl on them. So presumably Hits 2 is going to follow at some point, probably some point this year. Just seems strange only to have a Hits 1 released, and the way it's been released. So that is my most recent vinyl purchase. Number 18, an album they don't get. I couldn't think of many albums that, you know, I quite like popular music, so there's not many really in my collection that aren't popular. It might be not to some people's taste, but an album by a band that most of its fans don't like is Hot Space by Queen. I had this second to bottom, I think, in my Queen album ranking. That said, I still like the album. There's some really good stuff on there, obviously Under Pressure, but Las Palabras Day and More's really good. Body Language is quite good. Life is Real's good. And Staying Power's not bad. Backchat's not bad. You know, there's some reasonable stuff on there. It's not that, you know, they've done far better, but most Queen fans don't like this. Number 18, a punk album, or as near as you can get. Well, I have got a punk album. It's the only one I have on vinyl. But this is West Bank Songs 1978 to 1983, a best of The Undertones, which I got for Christmas 2019. So this has got, you know, the stuff you would expect to be on here, plus loads of other stuff as well. Obviously Teenage Kicks and Jimmy Jimmy. There Goes Norman, My Perfect Cousin. You know, there's the biggies you would expect on there. Here Comes the Summer. There's sort of, as I listened to it, there was more that I recognised than I thought. This is a nice package. It's got a nice booklet in there, and it's on purple and white vinyl. And then number 20, my favourite 2020 reissue. Now, regular viewers will know there's been 2 big reissues for me this year. My favourite artist and my favourite band have both had major reissues, so they are my tie for my favourite reissue. So, Prince's Sign of the Times mega box set. Loads of previously unreleased tracks, live tracks, remastered of the album. Beautiful package, wonderful set. And then my favourite band, Divine Comedy, have reissued all their albums. I've got them all on vinyl. They reissued everything up to and including Bang Goes to Knighthood, which is next on my to listen to pile just behind me. I've listened to all the other vinyl. But the real glory was this CD box set, which, as well as the albums, also contained a 2-disc Juvenilia set with loads of demos and early recordings, very early recordings, some of them. Each album has a bonus disc of demos, B-sides, live recordings, etc. This also includes the last 2 albums which aren't part of the vinyl campaign because they're already on vinyl. However, Foreverland, Office Politics, Foreverland is getting a vinyl reissue in a few months, I believe. Not sure what they're doing about Office Politics, but even those still had bonus discs of unreleased stuff. The vinyl did have codes so you could download the bonus material, but obviously it's nice to have them physically. Also got a nice book with all the lyrics in it. And then, as you can see, it's all very nicely presented, and what they've done is each album is in a slipcase to give it a uniform effect. So yeah, those are my favourite reissues of the year. Okay, that's it. That's the vinyl tag done. Wanted to keep it under half an hour, and I just about have. Thank you for watching. Like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in another video. Thanks. Bye.